I made a huge mistake. One that I cannot believe I even made. Welcome to Star Wars Uplink. So last week I made a video on the different styles of lightsaber forms. There's a lot. And you know what? I was like, man, this is a pretty cool video. I'm going to research the forms and kind of like what the specialties are. But I'm going to play my own game. I'm going to decide, okay, on this description here, I'm going to choose which Jedi used which form. And well, that wasn't the best idea because I got a lot of comments that I didn't do the right thing, that I made a mistake, that no, this is not what Luke Skywalker used. This is not what Anakin Skywalker used. No, this is not what Mace Windu used. This is not what Mace Windu. Yes, I know now. So here it is, the corrected version. Who uses what lightsaber form in Star Wars? Let's jump in. If you want the more in-depth understanding of lightsaber forms, do check out that other video. Besides the recommendations of who does what, it's a good overview. But here's a little quick TLDR. So, lightsabers in Star Wars, there are many different ways to wield a lightsaber, but the official ways are broken down into 7 different forms in Star Wars. And I'll put them up on the screen here for the whole variety. Each of them have a different preference and type of Jedi or Sith that uses them, and some of them were created more recently. But let's kick this off with Form 1. Who would use Form 1 in Star Wars? Well, pretty much everyone. Shii-Cho Form 1 is generally regarded as the oldest and most basic style of lightsaber form. Pretty much every Jedi begins learning with Shii-Cho, and it's honestly the default. When no one is performing or trying to really attack a highly skilled foe, they're going to use Form 1. To really master Form 1, you have to obtain pure inner peace to be able to utilize the lightsaber as an extension of themselves. But pretty much everyone mostly masters this one. But what about Form 2? Form 2 is where it starts to get a little spicy. Makashi is Form 2, and it is categorized as a graceful combat style and became a specialist form for duels with Sith opponents. Now, Count Dooku was a master of this form and also trained Asajj Ventress in the use of it. A couple other famous ones, the Grand Inquisitor as well as Ki-Adi-Mundi, were also users of Form 2 Makashi. Now, the Star Wars universe, we've got lightsabers, but now there's gonna be some things called blasters in the galaxy. Form 3 is the answer of that, and many in the Star Wars universe, the historians in Star Wars, believe that the rise of Soresu, the Form 3 in Star Wars, was in response to the rise of blaster usage. So anytime you see someone block a blaster bolt in Star Wars, they're using the Soresu Form 3. And then those who really master it, those people, well, they're Obi-Wan Kenobi and Kanan Jarrus, who were very skilled in the form. And what made them so effective in the galaxy against the rise of, in Obi-Wan's case, the Separatists, and in Kanan Jarrus' case, the rise of the Empire? Well, we have the very defensive form of Form 3. Form 4 flips that on its head entirely. Form 4 is all about aggression and strong strikes. We have a couple examples of this in lore. We've got Qui-Gon, Aayla Secura, Ezra Bridger, the Grand Inquisitor, and Anakin, as well as Yoda. Anakin we know from Rebels. There's a holo message by Anakin detailing the form that Kanan Jarrus has. And like I said before, the Jedi will use different versions of each of these depending on the use case. It's not, oh, you're just using this one lightsaber form. So when you look at Anakin, or you look at Yoda, or you look at Qui-Gon, you look at Aayla Secura, Ezra, whatever, whoever they are, they're going to be using a variety of these forms, sometimes even in the same fight. On that note, sometimes in the same fight, sometimes Jedi had favorite forms, and sometimes they would flip in between, but Anakin Skywalker with Form 5, there's 2 variants of this. There's the Shien and the Jimso. Now, the Jimso was Ahsoka Tano's favorite form, while the Shien was Anakin's, and this is a variant or an adaptation of Form 3, using solid blocks, parries, and stronger counterattacks. And many of the Jedi felt that Form 5 was not quite faithful to the Jedi way because it came pretty close to using the Force for offense rather than defense. Then we get to the 6th form of lightsaber combat, which is almost like the culmination of all the other ones. This was the last widespread adopted lightsaber combat form. This was almost the new standard, really. When you look at the lightsaber as a tool, Form 6 is very much, okay, let's utilize our force abilities as well as our lightsaber combat. And that's why it was really adopted more so in the later parts of the Clone Wars and the fall of the Republic, is that utilization of the force with the lightsaber combat. And it also worked really well with a double-bladed lightsaber, which Darth Maul was a user of Form 6, which I think is fascinating because Darth Sidious intentionally made him use this form because it was more of the Jedi form, not a Sith form. Speaking of the Sith forms, though, we've got Form 7, which has 2 variants and has a really strange history when you look deep into it. Form 7, Juyo, or Vipad. That's the other variation. But let's tackle Juyo first. Juyo is a very old lightsaber form, and it originated millennia before the Skywalker saga was even thought of. Like it's very, very much on the origins of the Jedi. It is a very aggressive and very strong form. Now, what really separated Form 7 Juyo from any of the other lightsaber forms was its reliance on its user's emotional state. Form 7 was known as the ferocity form, and it used a very aggressive offense. But you had to really actively draw upon your anger and negative emotions to keep the ferocity going. It was purely about finding what you really hate and using that to just strike down everything and everyone. And it was super controversial. It eventually got banned by the Jedi Order until we reach Mace Windu. Mace Windu took what really fueled Juyo and how it affected and how it really entered into the Star Wars lore and said, hey, I wonder if I can make this a good version of it. How can I ride the line between, let's use this very aggressive fighting style, the ferocity form, but make it light side, like use the tension between trying to get pulled to the dark side and use that as the origin of the power and the aggression. And that's what he did. He made an entire form called Vipad, and it was recognized by the Jedi Council, and it was created by Mace Windu, who really used it to address his weakness by controlling his inner darkness and channeling it into a worthy fighting style. And those are the original official forms of lightsaber forms in Star Wars. There's 7 of them, but post Order 66, you have a wide variety of use cases with these forms. You have Ezra Bridger, you have Cal Kestis, who are all using a very different style, and they're basically taking all of the forms that we know of, mashing them together, and then using blasters to really patchwork that together. And I think it's really exciting to see all of these different forms really take effect in something like Jedi Survivor, where you can play around with the different fighting styles, and that really affects your play style in the game and how the story progresses. But let me know your thoughts. And again, I want to just say sorry for that big mix-up, but it did give me an opportunity to dig even deeper and find all of the details for you in this video. So, hey, thanks for watching. Check out our podcast, and may the Force be with you.